Operation Fill-In Fire Closures from the PCT Thru-hike of 2017 is in effect. The road trip was really good. I think it was good for Fancy to get out. We stopped by Grassy Knoll on the way out here in Dallas and some other places, but it was good for her to meet new people and kind of get used to the idea of a different lifestyle. So she's adjusted very, very well, but I'm just happy to finally be back out on the trail. Maybe I saw something doo-dooed there. Quit! You'll catch the desert coyote funk. I mean, I feel like it's like a lavender sage mix.
Oh, it smells amazing.
It does. Yes. Somebody told me when I was on the PCT, but I don't remember. We got out here later than we expected. I think we're gonna take a little break and wait till it cools off. Fancy says it's warm in the desert. Duh. Thankfully, the high is in the 60s today, but we're just gonna wait till the sun gets a little bit lower to keep trucking on. A little water trough. At least I'm using my engineering degree. Mom says her shoes are eating her socks. So she has compression socks to help with circulation and plantar fasciitis. If there's a plantar fasciitis gene, she gave it to me. But yeah, so maybe the ankle socks should have been higher ankle socks. I didn't like the gate. Fancy, wait. Fancy, come here. It's okay. We are hiking up the Phobes Ranch Trail for a couple miles, and that's where I came down in 2017 to get around the fire closure. Then we'll be on the PCT for a couple miles around mile 166.5, I believe, to 168.5. And then we're gonna cut over to the Spittler Trail, and that's where we're gonna come out. Now, I could have road walked everything, but I wanted Mom and Fancy to have at least one overnighter and get kind of a feel for the trail, make sure our gear is gonna work out well before we get into a longer stretch. Keep going. Are you gonna spray me with your stinky butt? See, theme parks have have taken us over. Look, it's like a backdrop like you're on the PCT. Whew. Mom just got a good scare. Her first rattler right here. She did really well. She got going with a quickness. She's already back at the car. I'm just kidding. But yeah, how about this rattler? First day, Mom.
I heard it.
Yeah. Did you know what it was as soon as you heard it?
Yes, but I couldn't move fast enough.
I know. I was like, back up, back up, back up.
I felt like one of those dreams that are slow motion and you can't move.
Yes. We have officially reached the Pacific Crest Trail. I definitely remember that this is the correct spot. I came from that way when I was on the PCT, arrived here at the sign behind me that said, oh, fire closure up that way. And so I continued down that way right there behind me, which is the way that we just came up. So footsteps connected on this end successfully. Now we just have to continue on tomorrow. Handle around that right there. And then we just tighten everything up. This doesn't look like something you should be able to live in, does it? I'm getting a kennel. Your trail name is Awkward Turtle. Fancy May's favorite treat. Cheese. Do you feel like a mummy?
Yeah.
In your mummy bag? Now the zipper part will be under you whenever you get ready. Are you warm though?
Yeah.
Whenever I see ants working so hard like this, I just want to ask them where they're going and deliver the package for them. Update on my sleeping system. My sleeping pad has a hole in it somewhere. I would say it's a slow leak and not something that I popped in it, because if I blow it all the way up and then, you know, squeeze it, nothing's coming out, like spewing out. but it's definitely going flat over time. So I think it's probably something around the valve, something hopefully covered by warranty and factory, because this is the first time I've used it. I guess we'll see. But I'll definitely be contacting them when we emerge from the wilderness. Woohoo! I'm part of the PCT I have never seen before. I started Fancy's pack weight a good bit lower than the max that you can put on a dog. She's gonna pull me up the hill because I'm figuring, you know, she has to work up to her trail legs also. So we could do 11.5 pounds if you go off of the 25% of a dog's body weight, but I think I ended up yesterday starting her off at about 5 pounds. And then later in the afternoon, after it was so warm and everything, we ended up toting her pack, just taking turns and letting her just wear the harness. But she's back on the pack today, this morning while it's cool. And considering that half of her food weight is gone now, it's lighter. Sticking out. You can do it. Come on, good girl. Yay! Oh, my hip. As far as me and Mom go, our gear is fine, I think, except for our sleeping pads. Mine deflated almost immediately, and then after a few hours, Mom noticed that hers was losing air also, so I think that both of them are defected, which isn't great. That's why I'm glad this was a one-nighter. That way we got to test everything. So we'll definitely be contacting Therm-A-Rest. Maybe it's just a bad batch or something like that, because I know that my Therm-A-Rest NeoAir X-Lite is awesome and I love it. And I had high hopes for this one, so I'm gonna give it another shot and see if we can get replacements for these. And then, you know, if they're just not working out, we'll go back to the X-Lite. What you hitting that log for? Ooh. Rattler number 2, you okay? Yeah. Okay. He's just singing a pretty song for you.
I don't want to hear no pretty song.
I keep feeling the ground to see if it's too hot, but I don't think it is. We had to put her shoe on and she's not very happy with me. You can do it, come on. Here, I'll go first, okay? Yeah. It's okay. She's got 4-wheel drive now. Ooh, this is the best water source we have seen so far. Home says, why is it ready to pop? It's from the elevation change. Oh, geez. Good stuff. Honestly, after just this, when we get done, it'll be about 8.5 mile stretch. I would not want to bring a dog on a through hike in the desert. Now, she's done very well with these shoes. If you're gonna have a dog here, I would say definitely have the shoes to keep their feet from getting too hot, or else you're gonna have to hide in shade when it gets too hot. Definitely umbrellas too, if you can. As you can see, they cover her nicely, and plenty of extra water. But yeah, she's whooped because she's not used to all this, but we're taking it a little at a time, taking breaks, and I've put water on her to cool her down. I don't see anything that's like burning her. She wasn't lifting her paws because they were too hot, but just I kept feeling the ground, and as it warmed up, I thought it would be a good idea. I'm still here. Woo! It's right
there, right there.
There.
Oh, I see it. I see the top of it. Oh, we'll run that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I can't walk.
She said, why does it hurt? I called Therm-A-Rest today, explained to them my situation and everything, and they said, well, you have to return your sleeping pad before we can send you a new one. And I said, well, that's fine, I mean, I could overnight it if I needed to, but they said that it would take 4 to 6 weeks to get a replacement pad in after they looked at it. And I was like, I don't have that long, I'm only out here until the end of July because my mom has to be back. She teaches school, and they were like, well, sorry, there's nothing that we can do for you, which is pretty disappointing considering that I paid about $140 for my short sleeping pad, and it was about $170 or so, I think, for moms. So I don't really know what somebody would do if they had one of these on a through hike and this was a situation. So this is when I guess it's a good idea to buy from somebody like REI that takes returns up to a year, no questions asked, and potentially works better with people through hiking or doing long distance backpacking trips. So not really sure what we're gonna do about that yet, but I guess we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll have to send for my older sleeping pads or something like that. The man that I talked to did tell me that the Uberlites are very delicate pads, which, sure, I agree. It didn't feel much more delicate than the X-Lite, maybe a little bit, but I had just blown it up and got on it, and there, like I said, there were no holes, there were no punctures. When I put pressure on it, I'm not hearing air escape anywhere, and it's over time that it slowly releases. So I don't think that Mom and I both managed to poke a hole in ours that night that slowly release and don't make any noise, the first time we ever blew them up and sat on them for 5 minutes. And if they're that delicate, then maybe it's not a good pad to have. But I never had issues like this from the X-Lite, not the first night, certainly. There were some places that I set up camp that were maybe not the best, and I should have paid a little bit more attention, but I only had one hole in my X-Lite on the PCT and one on the CDT. So again, I just don't feel like this should be an issue right out of the box. Now begins phase 2 of the Idlewild area fire closure. I've got to do some road walking. Right before I left Alabama to come out here, around mile 170 and a half of the PCT, there was a rock slide. So there's a huge boulder blocking the trail, and the Forest Service hasn't officially closed the trail. Well, there's a comment in Guthook that says it has. Locals around town say that they haven't officially closed it, and I talked to one guy who did it, and he said that the video that's online showing the area and the boulder and everything is a little deceiving. It makes it look easier and less sketchy than it is, but he said when you have a pack, and your pack's bumping that boulder, it wasn't a good situation to be in, he felt like. And having my mom and Fancy, I wasn't gonna take that risk when there's no reason to. All I need to do is connect footsteps. So it was worth it to me to do one overnighter with them, not put them in any extreme danger, and then kind of test out our gear and then let them rest, do some errands around town while I road walk the rest. So that is why I'm out here road walking today instead of continuing on the trail. Just go figure, it's just like the PCT to be like, oh, you're coming back to try to fill in these fire closures? Well, it's not gonna be that easy. I'm just gonna drop a boulder in your path, but it's all right. I don't mind road walking. The CDT got me kind of used to that, and it's still nice because this is scenery that I definitely do not see in Alabama. Watch out for falling rocks and cows, apparently. There is the fallen sign for the Southridge Trail, which heads up this way behind me and goes to Keats Peak, where me and Perk and Tony camped down below the lookout tower, and then ended up boulder hopping the next day to reconnect to the north end of the PCT fire closure. So right here where I stand, my footsteps for this fire closure area are officially complete. And I was like, man, I really wish that I could just, squeeze something up in there like liquid chapstick or Vaseline or something, but I don't have that. So I was like, well, what can I do? And then I'm like, wait a second, this chapstick is kind of nostril shaped, and my ears, nose, and throat are all connected anyway, right? So I shoved the tube of chapstick up my nose, y'all. I don't know if I found a new life hack in this epiphany or if it just proves that I've reached a new level of hacker trash, but either way, I'm just saying don't knock it till you try it.